Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Among the Embers. So, as usual, we would like to thank Modiphius for creating the wonderful Star Trek Adventures gaming system, the charming people at Star Trek Online for allowing us to use some of their assets, of which you'll see a few more today, and Fury of a Seraph on DeviantArt, who was responsible for creating the template which allowed us to make the dedication plaque for the Nightingale. And a couple of other things. We have a friend of the show who took a guest spot and is involved in... I forget the name of the podcast. Does anyone remember?
Oh, dear.
Yes. Well, anyway, Serenia, who is apparently in the hospital for some reason, so we wish him a speedy recovery. As another fun note, the good crew of the Nightingale now have a little area to write side stories on our main website. I believe there'll be links for that somewhere in Twitch. But if not, the website is stotrust.shivtr, shivtr.com. Go ahead and take a look. Now, in other news, our first officer is currently absent but promised to be along shortly. And I believe that covers everything, aside from the fact that the captain has an audio problem. Right, well, in the meantime, let's do a quick recap of what happened last time. So, the Nightingale has successfully played its part as a mediator at the peace conference between the various Romulan factions. Well, mostly successfully anyway. One faction flat out just left after attempting to kill everyone else using a Thalaron weapon, which was very rude of them. And the unexpected arrival of a Blackthorn representative resulted in quite a number of complications, concluding with a grand assassination attempt which nearly destroyed the Nightingale, courtesy of Cecina Luki, the deranged Betazoid leader of the Blackthorn League.
I second that.
Using some kind of trans-dimensional torpedo, which was only narrowly defended against thanks to the efforts of Pharrell and Ventot. Being thoroughly outnumbered and outgunned by the progressively angrier Romulan fleet, Cecina left.
Go ahead.
But it has now been revealed that the Blackthorn representative, Tiaru Jarok, is not in fact a member of Blackthorn and has been leaking information to the Nightingale ever since she arrived. Now, that's what happened on screen. Off-screen things. The peace conference effectively ended with an agreement that, okay, bad things are happening, we need to put our differences aside until they're dealt with. The Nightingale was escorted to a dockyard of the Imperial Legion to get a few things patched up, most notably the deflector dish, and for reports to be made to Starfleet and a general consensus of what to be done to be made. Accompanying you, along with a couple of other ships, is the formerly Blackthorn Mokai class Telonis, Tiaru's vessel, although the good commander herself remained aboard the Nightingale. So, You will need to debrief her, ask some more questions, and she said that she knew where Cecina is going and that she needs to be stopped. So, it's a fair bet that's going to be in your imminent future. Um, do, 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 do. So, with all that in mind, there's our first officer. Welcome back, Commander Bong.
Hola, hola.
We can hear you.
Now, yes, one last thing. You have not had the time to fully repair the Nightingale. Time is a limiting factor, so you can repair one breach on the ship. You currently have a structure breach and 2 engine breaches. Which would you like to remove?
Engines.
Alrighty. Everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Sounds
Less
good.
less breaches on the engines, the better.
Brings it down to 1 engine breach. Which is good, because it makes it a little less likely that everything will go horribly wrong. Gives you a bit more of a buffer before they're actively damaged.
Yay.
Alright.
How does the Nightingale look visually? Seems how it still has that structure breach and 1 engine breach.
Mostly just a bit battle scarred. Nothing serious. The hull breach was successfully patched up, so it just looks a little
Off-color.
warm, but you're not in flames or anything.
And
I assume that much.
also, like I wrote in the story I posted on the site, the deflector is badly scarred from a little blowout it had, but it's working.
Indeed. So, Captain Jazanan,
Yes.
you have a lot on your plate to deal with.
Yes, I do. So much. And part of that, while the ship is being repaired, Talia is spending a lot of time in her office making not so fun subspace communications to the 6 officers' families that we lost in the attack.
Indeed. 6 deaths and about 70 casualties as a result of Cecina's attack. Could have been a lot worse, but yeah, that torpedo was no joke.
But when she's not doing that, she's working with her officers, going over tactical plans and loadouts for actually finding and capturing Cecina.
Alrighty.
For Ron, I just want to add this. Going into this, I'm going to say Pharrell has been at his workstation for the last few hours, just and making necessary communiques between Romulan repair crews, tracking down Cecina's ship, and going over sensor data from the battle as a means of keeping his mind off of what is it? What's Lookie's probing?
Yeah. For those of you who didn't catch it, Pharrell was the unfortunate victim of Cecina attempting to basically pull his brain out to get some information during the last battle, because she's a Betazoid, and she's a pretty powerful Betazoid. So, yes, Pharrell may need some therapy once all of this is done.
Well, thanks to the there being a Vulcan Vulcan at the Symbiosis Commission, he was able to learn some mental discipline techniques. So he'll be good enough for this mission. He just has a bit of a grudge for Luki at this point.
Well, hopefully you'll get to take her down soon.
Mm-hmm.
Captain,
Yes.
actually, this is probably a question for all three command officers. What have you been doing with Tiaru? You decided not to put her in the break last episode, as I recall, but
Correct. She seems oddly trustworthy.
and she definitely has some information which could be worth discussing with her. The other one who might be worth talking to, of course, especially given that you are in an Imperial facility and she's still present, is Taris, because she apparently has some connection with Tiaru, sorry.
I was like, hang on.
Yeah. So when I am available after making such terrible phone calls, I would like to have Tiaru. I would like to request her presence along with my command staff in my ready room. Because, it's the same size as Janeway's ready room, and that it could actually fit that many people.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, she comes along. Looking uncomfortable, but it's perhaps not hugely surprising under the circumstances. She just torpedoed her allegiances with Blackthorn, whatever they were, and Sathina doesn't seem like the type to be forgiving.
You don't say.
I mean, you saw what happened to the last person that failed her.
Yeah.
Yup.
But I'm getting the idea that this one will end up differently.
Hopefully. All right.
It's hard to say, but yeah.
Tiaru just kind of nods to you all as she enters. Naz, I'm assuming that you have given her a courtesy security escort, quote unquote. Naz?
Yes.
I asked you a question.
Sorry. Repeat, please.
Pay attention. Stop looking at your other Discord chats. I know you're looking at other Discord chats because I keep seeing you pop up. Yes, have you given... I'm assuming that you gave Tiaru a courtesy security escort.
Yes. That is correct.
Well, you see the two officers just sort of stand outside as she enters, nods to you all. You asked me, Captain?
Yes. I figured now was the time that since we're almost finished with whatever repairs can be made, to see what we can figure out together on apprehending our quarry.
Well, I'll certainly offer what I can. As I'm sure you've picked up by this point, I am not actually a member of Blackthorn. I was embedded within that organization. Along with my ship, we represent a different group.
You are not allies of Warlord Taurus, then?
Taurus is an associate. She has connections with my superiors.
Your actions and mannerisms led me to suspect as such, but I had no proof to start with, so.
Perhaps you would like to elaborate on your true allegiances.
She pauses for a moment. I think under the circumstances, that may be necessary. We've been attempting to stay very low-key, but if Cecina has acquired a purge torpedo, then that would definitely indicate that she has made the kind of friends which we would normally like to deal with ourselves, but we're simply not in a position to do so. I am an officer of an organization known as the Phoenix Convocation. If you remember that, Naz, you monitored a conversation between her and Taris where they discussed this group, although you didn't manage to get much.
Yep, I remember that.
Phoenix has kept a very low profile because, well, among other things, we have strong suspicions as to the cause of the Hopus disaster.
Oh,
We don't know everything, but we have had, or rather, my superior has had a few encounters which strongly suggest that Hobus was a first strike.
You believe that there may be another incident?
We're not sure whether there'll be another incident, but the Romulan Star Empire was already let's face it, the Star Empire was in chaos already, and it has been ever since Shenzong. The current mess is just an exaggeration of the split some years ago between Talora and Donatra. And while Talora may have died and Donatra reclaimed the entire empire, it was, what's the human expression? A bodge job? With the destruction of Romulus, the annihilation of the ruling council, and everything subsequent, Romulan territory is extremely vulnerable. We think that whoever was responsible for the attack on Hobus knew that this would be the result, and that we would, as a result, be a soft target. We also have significant concerns that this is not the first time that this has been attempted. I'll be honest, I'm a woman of action and the present. I don't remember all the details, but my superiors, should they get in contact, should be able to provide you with them. For right now, the important thing is ensuring that Cecina is taken down and any who are loyal to her cadre in the Blackthorn League are eliminated one way or the other before they provide a foothold for these invaders.
That I can agree with.
I can tell you exactly where her home base of operations in the Empire is. And if you're willing to trust me, I'm willing to provide the Telonis' firepower as backup.
Nas just kind of looks at the captain to see if that trust is given or not.
Talia does the whole, crosses her hands, folds her hands together, puts that whole deep thought, looking at you deeply, staring like into the soul that all Starfleet captains have.
Is this an inside check I hear?
Was that?
Is this an insight check I hear coming up?
Yeah.
Alright. You know the drill. Insight command. Let's go difficulty of 1. Which reminds me, actually, the new episode, so momentum and threats have reset. Which means the pull of momentum is now 3.
Huzzah.
All right. I don't think I need to add anything for this one.
Hey!
2 successes. Cool. Manage up to 4.
Always like
Yeah.
a good roll to start the morning.
Tiaru is a Romulan, and clearly she knows how to lie if she was able to be a mole in Blackthorn. But she's pretty plainly being very direct with you here. She's clearly not telling you everything, and she's flat out telling you that, but she's being honest.
I got it.
There's always a need for operational secrets, and Talia recognizes that. My biggest concern is Cecina may be expecting us to go to her base of operations.
I would operate under the assumption that she precisely expects us to go after her operations.
It's very likely. I leverage my way into a senior position within Blackthorn by bringing in such a powerful warship. I don't think she ever fully trusted me, but I do know enough of her secrets to be a threat.
How did you get past, and Bjorn sort of like motions at the head?
You got a bit of a double voice thing going on, Ten.
Hold on just a sec. Better?
Nope.
I do not hear it.
It sounds
I
fine
do.
to me.
Yeah, I think that's just you, Farrell.
Okay.
You don't have Twitch open, do you?
No.
I don't.
Oh, wait, I
Alright.
think it's better on my end now.
Okay. So
Okay.
Bjorn looks at her and sort of motions at his head. How did you get past the Beta Z thing?
I've had extensive training at the mental discipline required to block out a betazoid. It was not comfortable, to say the least, but it was a requirement for this position, for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
So, my thoughts are, do you know of any other hidey holes she may go to, just in case she doesn't go to the home base and tries to hope that we go there in not finding her?
There is one possibility, a location which I'm reasonably certain she thinks I don't know about. I managed to trace her vessel there once. She was very specific about going alone. Didn't even take her flagship. She just took a shuttle. So clearly whatever's there is important. But I'm reasonably certain that she will have gone back to home base, mainly because that is the only shipyard which Blackthorn possesses in this sector which would be capable of repairing the Deathhawk. And she would be extremely reluctant to be without her flagship at full operations. Ultimately, Sistina is driven by a need to inflict death and pain, which means that she always wants to have her weapons as deadly as they can be, even if that might not necessarily be the optimal path.
Vintot speaks up and goes, "We've seen the devastation of those weapons. Thankfully, due to your communications, we were able to protect ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now. But I would like to know, would we possibly be able to get more assistance besides just your one ship if we need it?"
That was my next plan, was to
I apologize, sir.
she kind of gives a small sigh. She's like, I believe our best bet of acquiring more military might would be talking to Warlord Taris.
The rest of Phoenix, the only Phoenix presence in the Empire itself are too far away to help, or a couple of deep cover scout vessels. I'm afraid that the Solonus is all that we can offer. So unless you can gain the aid of any Starfleet vessels or terrorists, it's going to be just the two of us.
Are there any
All right.
Starfleet vessels in the area that Talia knows of?
Well, fortunately, there was, in fact, if you recall, fairly recently, Starfleet did start sending some more ships into Romulan territory.
Right.
So you do know of a couple of ships which might be able to lend their aid to this.
That could be handy.
And of course, the flip side is that they are hospital and relief ships, but technically so is the Nightingale, so that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be able to handle themselves in a fight.
Right, because if they're under, Blood and Guts Janeway's purview,
They're to be able to defend themselves.
Yep. If you want to know exactly who would be within range to assist in an operation, then you need to look that up.
yeah, I'll do that. But I also want to ask Terrace, seeing as this is technically a Romulan problem, I would like the Romulans to be
A prize.
at least one major Romulan faction to be involved.
Probably a good idea.
So, good. We have a place to start looking then. I will communicate with Warlord Taris to see if she would lend might to our force, and I will also communicate see if any other Starfleet vessels are able to join us as well. There are a few in the area I know of that should be able to join us. In the meantime, any tactical ship information you have on the Death Hawk, I would like you to relay to Commander Bazan and work on. And Commander Bazan, I need good, solid tactical battle plans.
Of course, Captain.
Commander Bong, I would like you to join in on that. Start while I'm doing the talking to people. As I do, I need you to handle the ship side of things. Get us ready as much as we can.
You betcha.
Vintot just nods after he says that.
Remember, it's just you're not in the ready room with them.
No, I said the command staff.
Yeah, this is everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was just Captain, First Officer, Second Officer, and Tiaru.
No, I said command staff.
Alrighty. And Pharrell's just standing off to the side, very quiet.
All right.
With that,
So,
let's get on with it.
alrighty. Well, Tiara will happily go off with the tactical peoples to provide what information she can about the base and what might be there. Let's see, Talia. It's relatively easy to find what ships are immediately available. And it's a bit of a mixed bag. There are exactly 2 ships which are within range and will be able to join you for an operation. Unfortunately, one of them is an Oberth class.
Ooh.
That might not be.
That's possibly not the best option.
Oberths have like next to no weapons.
I mean, they can be uptooled and improved somewhat, but yeah, they're not warships. This one is specifically en route somewhere to meet up with another task force. But the other one would be the USS. Damn it. It had a name. Um, the USS Repulse, which is a Galaxy class.
Ooh.
Ooh, so big boy.
That could be fun.
I was honestly expecting that we would have like a Norway class, given that it's just relief and hospital ships coming in.
Well,
I
sure, most of
suppose.
them are, but in terms of raw size and evacuation potential, the Galaxy is still one of the best in the Federation fleet. Also, she can seriously handle herself. It looks like the Repulse is probably due to head off more towards Abraxan territory, so kind of places where a relief ship would need to be able to handle, say, multiple Daredexes expressing their dissatisfaction.
Yeah. In that case, I would not be surprised if Pharrell's old ship is wondering about the Star Empire territory.
You're on the USS Galaxy, right?
Yes. It helped the Nightingale when it was tangled with Narada.
It's entirely possible. All right. You will need to communicate the situation to the captain of the Repulse, though.
On a secure channel, obviously.
Obviously.
Hey, kidding me? Just do it on a public channel. Nothing bad will happen from that.
Nothing couldn't go wrong, they said.
Alrighty. Well, your communication goes through, and shortly after, you get a lovely view of the Repulse's bridge. Captain Wright in command. Captain Jazaman, this is unexpected. What can we do for you?
Captain Wright, we've run into a bit of a mixed. You may have been briefed on the meeting between the various Romulan factions that was taking place.
We heard it was going on. Did something happen?
Many things happened. I will be sure to include all of the happenings in the standard report that you will receive after the Admiral looks over it herself. But the primary thing was, once I had everyone, barring the usual suspect, on the same page at least, an agent of Blackthorn tried to assault the base and the Nightingale herself, seemingly trying to throw the entire conference out of whack.
That's concerning.
But it came with but the attack ended in failure for the most part, and it provided us with a boon. We now have the location to the main Blackthorn shipyards in this sector. I am currently coordinating with a Romulan agent and possibly other Romulan vessels to lead an assault on the Blackthorn base. However, despite the Admiral's upgrades to the Nightingale, she's not as big of a threat as might quite possibly be needed from Starfleet's side.
Captain Wright just sort of leans back, stroking his chin. It's walking dangerously close to to interfering, don't you think?
Close, but Blackthorn is not a Romulan governmental agency. They are still classified as a terrorist group. And
they also fired upon a Starfleet vessel, if that makes any difference.
So that does involve us.
Hmm.
In some fashion.
Yes, they did. And they did take hostile action against us. I would hinge my bets on at least one of the major Romulan factions joining us as well, seeing as we will be not necessarily interfering, but lending a major assistance to, as is our mission here, lending major assistance.
All right, Captain. I'd said that I want to check in with the Admiral, but I think we both know what she'd say in the circumstances. Send us the coordinates for rendezvous, and we'll do what we can.
Thank you, Captain.
All right. And you want to chat with Taris now?
Yes.
Well, you hail her warbird, and shortly afterwards, you get to see the warlord, looking a little harassed. It's quite possible that she's concerned by recent events.
Right.
Captain.
Lord, I hope that things are going better for you than they were for the Nightingale just recently.
Well, an unidentified and extremely powerful weapon being used in an assassination attempt against me is not ideal. What can I do for you?
After talking with Commander Tiaru, I've decided that the Nightingale, along with her vessel, and possibly another Starfleet vessel, will be making an assault on Black Dawn shipyards as soon as feasibly possible. My question is, as my line has been the entire time, this is primarily a threat to the Romulan people. And as one of the more military actors of the Romulan people at this moment, I am requesting your aid in this endeavor.
What has she told you?
Not much. We have locations. We have one the location of the primary shipyards in the area, and quite possibly another hiding spot for Cecina. And she is working with my tactical officer on assault plans.
I would be very careful of that girl. She has connections. I don't know exactly who she works for or what this Phoenix convocation is really about. But I do know that they have some very secure information, which they were able to use to gain my interest. Anyone with that kind of intelligence reach could very well have their own designs upon Romulan space, whatever other intentions they may have communicated to you. Any Romulan with even a small diplomatic streak knows how to talk to Starfleet. You have a very predictable set of interests and values. But I don't
Trust
like
me,
being
Warlord.
quiet.
Those types of things have always been on my mind since I've entered Romulan space.
I'm sure. However, all of that in mind, I would like to get a little payback on this Cecina.
Get in line.
I have borders and other concerns to deal with, not least with Abraxas still being potentially hostile. But I can provide a few ships for this operation.
Any aid at all that you can send our way is highly appreciated.
Alrighty. Well, it was Naz and Bjorn. You were working on tactics, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright. Well, the Tiaro shows you exactly where you're headed. It is a location called the Carina Nebula. Carina, if you're making notes. It's not actually all that far off, but it tends to be avoided because it's a navigational nightmare. Between the difficulties of using sensors in a nebula and natural subspace eddies, which can make plotting a consistent course difficult, people tend to just steer clear.
Where would it be on the map?
You are heading...
Okay. So a little bit in between Gasco and Eden.
Correct. Now, that lot. It consists of one D-star to maintain fairly large cruisers. It was theoretical maintain the Talonis, and it's definitely large enough to handle a cavort. But there's no actual. There's just basic defenses around the shipyard itself. Heavy reliance upon warships. In terms of what you can expect, obviously the death of Klingon vessels.
I bet it's going to be the same vessels that we encountered during the Takaran mess.
Only one of those.
Only one of those got away, but it's quite possible that there are more.
That wouldn't surprise me.
If you've got the resources, Borels are a dime a dozen.
So, are the approaches all equally viable, or is there one that's harder, more difficult, and therefore less protected?
There are a number of routes in ways that they're not consistent. And the only way to actually just blunt try to follow a set of beacons which they left behind, which Blackthorn left behind. Unfortunately, they've almost certainly been reprogrammed so that they'll made coordinates to the Talonis. So you're going to have to pick one and hope.
Would it be, just throwing ideas around, would it be possible to hack into one of those beacons and basically convince it that we are a Blackthorn ship?
You need to find them first.
I'm assuming they're pretty well hidden. Or
Pretty well
I
hidden.
just assume that they'll be pretty... Yeah, okay.
Do you know her?
Probably... Sorry, go ahead.
Do you know her courier routes?
I know the usual routes, which we use. Courier routes?
Courier routes.
As in regular flows of ships, or
Things she uses to get messages in and out of the system, as well as get some supplies in. We know she's got to be getting supplies in, so it's probably going to be easier to take in one of the attack vessels, and they would have the information we need to be able to get the different beacons.
Well, not necessarily as cunning as we're supplies dropped off in one place, and her personal like to collect them there and take them back to that base.
Blackthorn doesn't actually have a lot of freighters. For the most part, if we need to haul stuff around, just brought a refit galore or something with expanded cargo base.
Okay.
I can narrow down the pathways in. Colonus has made that journey several times, but ultimately I think that we're going to need to spread our forces and pick the most likely routes, and if we actually manage to get in there, just broadcast beacons to let others lock onto them. The good news is that, assuming your captain can summon up enough support, we should outgun Blackthorn fairly handily. We don't actually have that many powerful ships, and what we do spread out across the Empire. Getting support and making yourself look scary, but ultimately, it's a breakaway faction.
only be dealing with a few ships at the shipyard once we reach it inside the nebula.
The permanently stationed vessels there are a small squadron of and a Blackguard class cruiser.
And of course, Cecina's ship as well now.
That's certainly true.
What was the name of the class of cruiser you said?
Blackguard.
Not familiar with that.
It's an Orion vessel.
Okay.
The ship is
Deathhawk.
Deathhawk, thank you. I had a brain fart and I couldn't remember it.
She suddenly pauses for a moment. Not something I ever considered before because I thought that I had to be planning an assault on the place. But I think be able to locate the correct entry point. It would just require a lot of ships coordinating to effectively stabilize a section of the nebula.
I won't pretend to know the science involved, but we may have a few ships available to us. More than just the Nightingale, at any rate. How many ships did you have in mind?
Assuming that they had powerful enough deflector arrays, No, not deflectors, singularities. This would have to be a Romulan operation.
So, not Danubes then.
No, you'd need full-scale starships. But I believe that for warbirds, if they were able to project their singularity cores in the correct fashion, would be able to essentially bend subspace in the other direction to create an area of calm, which would allow for a fairly straight shot straight into the core.
The shipyard would notice this tactic, I presume.
Undoubtedly.
So we would have the element of surprise, but not for very long.
We will be aided in that respect by the fact that detecting anything in that nebula will be difficult. Effective ranges are going to be severely curtailed.
As is sadly typical of fighting in nebula.
On the other hand, this is a Nebula-class starship, so...
At least our names are right.
Nebula and a nebula.
Alright. Is there anything else that anyone would like to do before setting off for the nebula?
Nas wants to bring this plan by Pharrell, just to have someone put some numbers under it and see if it's feasible.
All right.
If it looks like this is if this is likely to help, then she's going to bring it to the captain and basically say, "Hey, do you think we could get 4 warbirds from our Romulan friends?" Not necessarily to engage in the attack itself, but to provide an avenue for the assault. So, if they're worried about it, they might be able to mitigate their direct involvement.
All right.
Will you be needing a check from me?
Well, technically, we'd only need 3 more warbirds.
This is true.
Seems that we already have the Talonus.
And do I know how did Terrace give me any indication of how many vessels she's going to loan us? I mean,
she'll be providing you with 4 Didaridax class.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Bringing up the big birds.
Basically a full attack squadron.
Double D's.
That sounds like it'll do.
Anyway, will you be needing a check from me with Nas bringing this?
Give me a reason science check. Difficulty of 1.
Alrighty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay,
All right.
I didn't roll.
So, okay. Alrighty. Roll. Runs the numbers and then looks to Nas. It's possible, sir, but as that my life and past few lives on Federation vessels, I do not have any extra.
Mostly checking to see if the theory was sound more than having a definitive answer.
It is definitely a possible plan.
Beats trying to force our way through uncertain pathways and certain to be noticed beforehand, and then run smack into prepared defenses. I think I'll take this to the captain. Thank you, Commander.
Pharrell gives a nod and looks back at his console.
Captain once comes back onto the bridge. One moment, phone call.
Is Vin taught at his station, or is he in engineering?
I think that's up to you.
Okay, well, I'll say he's at his station. Didn't know if you had him working on something else. Or if I'm still monitoring repairs.
All right, I'm back. It was a quick phone call from my mother.
Welcome back.
All right.
Yeah, Nas is gonna go to the captain.
You have a plan?
We hear you, yes.
I'll be right back. I'm stepping away for a sec.
Okay.
Feel free to continue without me since I'm not in the scene.
Well,
Commander Jurok has posed an interesting tactical theory. Using, she believes, a series of Romulan ships with their singularities, they can project those singularities to create a stable corridor of subspace through the nebula, which otherwise would be not impossible to traverse, but very difficult. Might be able to create a direct path to the shipyard itself.
Commander Farrell, is this feasible?
It's definitely a possible plan we can use. Given that my expertise does not does not include quantum singularity cores or deflectors.
Is Tiaro still on the bridge with us?
Yes.
I would say I was just consulting our ex Blackthorn here.
Commander Tiaru, it's been a while since I've worked around Raman singularity cores. What effect post-operation of this tactic would it have on the capabilities of the Romulan warbirds?
It would take them some time to regenerate their systems. This is extremely... It's not exactly equivalent to ejecting a warp core. It takes a similar toll on a ship. Now, unlike ejecting a warp core, they will be able to bring their systems back online and be combat ready in due course, but we would be without their aid.
So we would initiate the assault without the assistance of, was 4 vessels you recommended?
That's correct.
Just how many we are going to be receiving from Taras?
Ah,
I mean, the alternative here is going in by trial and error, and a number of possible paths. We could end up just as short-handed. This way, we at least get to be sure of what ships will.
and of course, we will also be able to choose our own avenue of attack.
Commander Jurok, would all 4 of these warbirds need to project their singularities at the same time, or could a couple of them do it?
It would need to be all 4 at the same time in order to affect a large enough area of the nebula.
Understood.
We will also have the aid of another Starfleet vessel. And definitely not a vessel to be trifled with in its own right.
You got one of your big ships. That'll be useful.
Yes.
That could prove to be quite useful.
A full Romulan warbirds, a Starfleet Galaxy class.
Well, I suppose it's about as good of a plan as any. Commander Jurok, I would ask that you coordinate with the other warbirds that will be their role in this. Hopefully you can have them prepared to rejoin us as quickly as possible. Said it was the Repulse.
Yes.
I will contact the battle plans. And we should party started, as the humans say.
All right. Well, I will speed things through a little bit because the next bit's going to take a while. You arrive at the Carina Nebula, your little fleet. And you can immediately see what Tiaro was talking about. This place is the kind of place which Starfleet could spend years trying to map.
Actual years.
Yes. But there do seem to be some little in which, again, these are the kind of things that she was talking about. She directs the fleet forwards.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
And then the Derivexes one by one off into positions where they start just creating massive gravitational waves, essentially. Which results in kind of a rough ride. Sure, it creates. And it does actually clear out the nebula a little bit in places. You can actually see more than a few kilometers in front of you. But as you get what appears to be a star, and the nebula starts to thicken up again. Just north, we're nearly there. The starbase, the shipyard around the second planet. With your permission, I'll return to my ship at this point.
Very well. Good hunting.
And you.
I just had a that we on our Starfleet ships could try. It's something that was seen in Star Trek Generations.
Oh?
Yes, when Scotty used to simulate a twin that we do with the nebula.
It's been a while since I've seen that. Remind me.
Like when the Enterprise B was trapped in the Nexus, Kirk suggested using a torpedo to help destroy on the ship, but special stuff wouldn't be Tuesday. Scotty's deflected effect was able to.
I'm sorry, is he breaking up for anybody else or just me?
Get clear of the Nexus.
That's not really going to help in terms of being able to detect.
Well, I
it's
was.
the subspace eddy in moving around. It's a threat rather than
Oh, I see.
anything else. So really be
A
okay.
commendable problem.
All right. As you start approaching the second planet, you you get a brief sensor image of some kind of ship ahead of you. It looks like it may be that time.
Captain, I'm getting some kind of sensor echo ahead of us. And maybe a ship. Maybe a ship.
Hey guys, can we pause just for a
Alert.
quick second? I think
What
I
was
might
that?
need to restart the stream.
That alert.
Oh.
I haven't. I think this.
Are you guys hearing me? I think something's wrong with me.
Alrighty.
Hold on, streamers. I'll see if I can get their attention. Something's up.
Is this all the map that we get?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
This map has fog of war.
Ah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oof.
Might have to. Sorry, what?
Can you guys hear me?
Say again, Venta.
I think we lost them.
I think I. Can you hear me?
Oh
Check.
dear.
Yeah, I'm getting confirmation that there are some stream problems.
Okay.
Oh, fun.
Lip.
All right.
Check.
We will,
Check. Check.
apparently. There we go.
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm still going to restart the stream, but making sure my Discord's working right now. I
Yeah.
don't know what just happened, but I'm going to restart the stream anyway. We'll be back in a second, folks.